tried for about 11 months and struggled just on our own, really. We didn't tell too many people about it. We just were struggling. And, you know, as soon as you make the decision to have a family, you want it. And every month that goes by, even if it's 1 month or two, it feels like an eternity. And so for us, we finally broke down one afternoon and just told my family that was here. And through different connections, they got us actually hooked up with a really awesome fertility clinic, Soft, in London. And so we were able to start our journey there. And we did just a couple of treatments, and they found out what was wrong. And from there, after we did have one low positive, so we had a miscarriage the month before we got pregnant with Emerson. And then once we had that, it was just devastating. We were like so close, and then all of a sudden it felt like it was taken away from us, and we were like, what the heck, you know, like finally we got so close, and then it was just taken from us again. But anyway, then the next month we were blessed with a positive pregnancy test.
We just put the whole first trying putting it into God's hands, and not knowing that we definitely couldn't do it our own, because we just struggled with it, and there was nothing that we could do, and we knew that we had to give it over to God. And the moment that we did, He opened doors for us, and now we have a beautiful little girl, and she's awesome.
Yeah, so in March 2014, we got another positive pregnancy test. We were so excited, and for whatever reason that month, like Matt had just said to me, I know, I just feel like this is the month, and we were just pumped about it, and got home from vacation, and we took a test, and it was positive. We're like, wow, I can't believe it, like, this is it. Like, we really felt like this is it. And went to the clinic, got my blood taken, and again, your numbers don't look good, Amy. Things don't look good. And so for the next week, I did a few more blood tests, and it just, things were not looking good. And I did end up miscarrying again. And that's when we just said, you know, we're done. Like, we grieved another baby that we felt was taken from us too early. And we had, like, you know, it was the hardest time, but at the same time it was really good for us, because we finally came to the point where we were like, we're blessed, we're so blessed to have one. We can't do this to ourselves anymore. Just the emotional toll that it takes on my body, physically and emotionally, and Matt as well. Like, we just knew that we couldn't do it anymore. So I remember saying to my sister, I'm so happy with Em. Like, if she's all we have, we're blessed by her, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, and she is awesome. Like, physically dealing with all the meds, the treatments, day in, day out, clockwork medicine, changing her body, trying to get that, just the toll on her, and just draining. And also the countless procedures. They're not easy, but going over and over and over and over again just wears you down. On the mental state of it, just the ability of knowing that we're not able to, seeing her friends, people joking about the fertility clinic, and the fact that people have to go there is just pulled apart her inner being. Also having to deal with the fact that the hope of having a child, and all of a sudden just being, nope, not this time, right? It's just the roller coaster of emotions, as like waking up just crying in the middle of the night, or not even being able to sleep for a day because just going through her head, is it because I walked down the stairs too fast, right? Just like those types of things. And also spiritually questioning God, and that alone, just in her spirit, just why, God, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to Amy? Why are you doing this to Matt? Why are you doing this to Emerson, right? Like all those types of things are going through, and you see this battle day in, day out with her. And it just is the hardest thing as a husband to see a wife go through that. And just knowing that, like, I know it brought us closer together. Like, I can say that our marriage is as strong as ever. And I love this lady here more than I did when I married her. And yeah, so it just brings together, it hurts because, like, how can a husband watch his wife go through all this stuff and can do absolutely nothing, right? I'm useless. I can just sit there and go, it's okay. So, and then it just debilitates and just destroys.
Sometimes it's really hard for me to talk about infertility because there's so many emotions involved with it that I don't even know how I feel sometimes. It's just from one day to the next. It's some days I feel like, you know, I'm good, I can do this, I can get through it, and then other days you're just devastated and all you can do is bawl, and that's it. Like it's hard being a human, knowing, you know, people complain about money, people complain about their house, things that there's something that can be done about it, but you feel absolutely helpless and hopeless going through infertility because there's really nothing you can do. Even when you have the best doctors and the best staff to help you through it, if your body's not doing it, there's nothing that can be done. And just emotionally, the toll it took on me knowing my body doesn't work right. This is my fault. I felt like I carried the burden of not being able to do the one thing that I'm supposed to be able to do as a woman. So right after our last miscarriage in March of this year, we, like I said, we were happy, we were done, we were happy with and yeah, and then we were just going on with life, and we were okay, and we kind of dealt with it all and just moving on with life. And anyway, I remember calling the doctors and saying, you know, like, when's my body supposed to go back into normal, you know, my normal cycle? And yeah, and they said, you know, well, it can take up to 60 days, so don't worry about it. Just keep on with life and let us know what you guys decide, if you want to come back or what you want to do. So that was fine. I told Matt, and yeah. And then one afternoon, it was just Em and I at home, and I decided I wanted to paint the kitchen. And so we went out and got the paint and came home and put Em down for a nap. And as soon as I cracked the can of paint, I was like, oh, I do not feel well. And I just had something in my spirit say, you know, just take a test. Like, you need to go and get a test. And so I remember I called my sister-in-law and I pretended like, oh, I forgot something at the paint store. Can you come over and keep an eye on Em? And went to the drugstore and came home with the test. I was like, thanks, see you later. And went and took a test, and it was positive right away. And with all the times we had taken tests, like the hundreds of tests we had taken, it was negative, or when it was positive, it was so, my blood wasn't good. So it wasn't strong. So this time it was like, the first line was so strong, I actually called the pregnancy, like, place and was like, I don't know if your tests ever break, but like, there's only one line, but it's the first line. And of course they can't say anything. So my dream always was for Matt to come home from work and to be like, look at the test, we're pregnant. And anyway, I got to do that. I got to say to him, we're pregnant, and surprise him, and you didn't even believe me.
Yeah, no. Not
You're
at all.
so confused, right?
Well, I just didn't realize that because it wasn't that we were going through the procedure, so it was like, why bother even try, right? So I just was again going through, oh great, here's all those emotions one more time, right? So yeah.
So, and what's cool looking back on it, I've kept my journal from my whole journey and looking back. And in March, like I just felt like God was speaking to me and saying, I've given you what you've asked for, and it's not going to happen again. You're not going to have another miscarriage. And you know, everybody has those promptings in their spirit, but sometimes you just think, oh, it's probably just me being hopeful. But I really felt like that, and then I took the test, and I just remember bawling because I was like, finally, like I just felt like we gave it to God, and He took it and just was like, you finally gave it to me. And
yeah, and that's the biggest thing here, like what we learned from Emerson, and what we've learned from this one is that we have to give it to God, and that it doesn't matter what we go through in life. And this is not just even about infertility, but this is about everything. It doesn't matter what we go through in life and what people go through. It's just, we're man. We make mistakes. We always do. But God will work past those mistakes and make things right the way that they're supposed to be. And that's the thing, right? It's just not being able to just sit on your seat and say, this is what I'm doing. But going, hey God, honestly, if you want this to happen, if it's meant to be, I'm just giving it to you. And in your time, He'll make it right. And it's true, like He took us further than we ever would have thought we could have gone. And
He really works all things together for good.
Oh yeah.
No matter, you don't feel like that most days. I didn't feel like that most days. But when you look back on the journey and where God's brought you, there's not always a happy ending. I know that,
but God will pull you through that ending, happy or not, and you'll be better for it. Just not at the moment you're thinking that, but it's unbelievable to see what God's been able to do for us and through us. So.